There's been great concern within the home medical equipment community about the process used to obtain the bids. I mean, this process has been referred to as suicide bidding. There's virtually no transparency in it at all. Ken, as an economist, what is your take on this
I don't think
situation?
I don't think there's any doubt that this is a flawed bidding process.
Why?
Well, first of all, there are over 160 economists who have signed a letter indicating the various problems with just the bidding process itself. In fact, this isn't actually the first time we've done the bids. This is the second time we've done the bids, because the first time we did the bids a few years ago, there were numerous problems with the bidding process.
I think most of us in Iowa understand that we're better at making medical and healthcare decisions than bureaucrats in Washington. Really? And for a bureaucrat in Washington to try to get in between a patient and their doctor, a patient and their caregiver and their family, is just wrong. This is a radical change in policy. It's a radical shake-up in the medical equipment and healthcare industry, and that's why we feel it's so important. We feel that the word has to get out. In addition to some of the things that Ken just talked about, this bidding process, as it started to roll out, has some just shocking results that we're already seeing. For example, in the 10 cities that have already bid, 80% of the existing healthcare providers have been eliminated from bidding. 8 out of 10 of the existing people are pushed aside by Washington bureaucrats. Now, even worse, of the remaining winning bidders, what we found out is that 30% of them are either brand new to the business, they've never been in the business, or they've never been in that community. So we have people that saw a bid and they decided to throw in a bid. And in their shocking incompetence, Washington did not specify any criteria for who could or could not bid. Anybody can bid, anybody can get into the game. It's all based on low price. None of it is based on whether you know what you're doing. None of it's based on the quality that you provide. None of it's based on the historical equipment that you provide. None of it's based on what patients think of your customer service and your patient care. None of those things are criteria. None of it's based on whether you've got the capacity to respond in a storm, in a power outage. None of those things were criteria in the bid. It was simply, who is the lowest cost? Who's willing to provide the cheapest of cheap equipment? And that's just an outrage, and it's a radical departure from the system that we have in place right now.
Kelly, I know that as you have been out and about, you've spoken also to the caregivers who are responsible for taking care of some people with really serious disabilities. What are you hearing?
Yeah, I actually had the privilege of meeting Marcy Kruger, who's a caregiver for a young man that lives here in town who has Duchenne's muscular dystrophy. So this young man relies on a power chair, portable ventilator, a BiPAP, a lift, accessible vehicle to get anywhere. And Marcy is his caretaker, and she's practically with him every day because he needs assistance every single day. And one of her main concerns is making sure he has the quality of life and the appropriate equipment and services he needs. And one of the main things, one of the only things that this young man really gets to do, because he's so limited on the things that he can do, is to go to the movies on Friday. And for quite a while they had to go without a portable ventilator, which really eliminated the ability for him to even leave the house. He was confined to his bed. And Marcy shared with us lots of stories of the importance, again, going back to having that local provider available to come and help with any needs that they need. And so she is very, very concerned about the home care local provider going away and having to wait for somebody who might have to travel from Des Moines.
Marcy is one of the most eloquent spokeswomen for home health care.
Anytime you get breathing apparatus, there's always tweaking that needs to be done. And the respiratory therapist from Hy-Vee Home Med was out
every day for
for about a week. You can pick up the phone and call her, you know, and say, hey, can you come out and look at this? And they'll get it within 24 hours if they don't have it in stock. I don't know what we'd do if we had to go out of town and actually order somewhere other than, you know, right here. Without the equipment, Eric is in the bed, period. And without somebody local to service it when we need to, if we had to wait for somebody to make an appointment with somebody in Des Moines, you know, who knows what would happen. It just, it's ludicrous.
So this medical equipment actually means life for him and freedom. As much freedom as he can have and independence.
Plain and simple, they need to understand that we don't have throwaway people in this society.
Might as well just shoot us now because he wouldn't be able to do anything.
So
Don't do it.
That's right.
The elderly and the disabled are not the ones that they should take the funding from.
Mike, what can we do to make sure that this horrible policy goes away?
The only way we can protect our healthcare system right now from this radical change is to call our U.S. senators. So people need to call their 2 United States senators and tell them they don't want low-bid medicine, they don't want cheap equipment, they want the freedom to choose their own provider, they want quality and service and customer service to be part of the criteria. So they need to let their senators know that they don't want a decimation of the healthcare infrastructure in the state of Iowa or anywhere in the United States.
Audience, you heard him. You got to get on the phone and start talking to your senators. I would like to thank our panelists today, Mike Mallaro, Professor Ken Brown of the University of Northern Iowa, Kelly Turner, and thanks to our audience for watching VGM-TV. Stay well, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.